My white blood cell count was elevated, but in a way that suggested robust immune function rather than infection. My cardiovascular markers were excellent. By every measurable standard, I was the picture of health, except for the cough and the dreams. Sleep had never come easily in the underhive. The constant hum of machinery, the distant sound of violence, the knowledge that millions of souls were pressed together in a space that groaned under its own weight. But now sleep brought visions that felt more real than waking. Gardens that stretched beyond sight, filled with plants that grew from corpses and bore fruit that pulsed with heartbeats. Trees whose bark wept tears of pus, whose leaves whispered secrets in languages I had never learned but somehow understood. In these dreams, I walked among the flowers. They reached for me with tendrils that felt warm against my skin, and their touch brought a comfort I had never known in life. The air was thick with spores that made my lungs feel clean for the first time in decades. And standing at the center of it all, massive beyond comprehension yet somehow intimate, was a presence that watched me with eyes like festering wounds and loved me with a love that was patient, eternal, and absolutely complete. I would wake from these dreams feeling refreshed despite having slept poorly. My body would tingle with residual pleasure, and for a few precious moments, the gray despair that colored every underhive day would be replaced by something warm and green. But as the dreams faded, reality would reassert itself, and I would be left with only the cough and a growing sense that something fundamental was changing. The physical symptoms progressed slowly at first. A slight discoloration of the fingernails, a barely perceptible thickening of the skin around my joints. Changes so subtle that I could convince myself they were stress-related, the result of poor nutrition and inadequate rest. But the cough grew stronger, and with it came a productivity that alarmed me. What I coughed up wasn't normal sputum. It was thick, viscous, and carried that same sweet scent I had noticed on my patient. Under the microscope, it revealed structures that should not have existed in human biology. Cellular formations that looked almost like flowers, with petals made of tissue that pulsed with their own rhythm. When I tried to culture samples, they grew with an enthusiasm that defied every principle of microbiology I had learned. And they were beautiful. That was the worst part. Despite knowing what they represented, despite understanding the implications,